The rain fell in soft, rhythmic taps against the windows of the old Carlton Hotel. Somewhere down the hallway, a clock chimed 7, echoing through the empty lobby like a ghost of time. Detective Evelyn Hart stepped inside, her trench coat still damp, and felt the familiar thrill of a mystery waiting to be uncovered. Evelyn was known in Clearwater for her sharp mind and quiet determination. She wasn't flashy like some private eyes in the papers. No fedoras or flashy cars, but she had an instinct for details others overlooked. Tonight, however, even she felt a shiver of anticipation. The Carlton Hotel had been the scene of whispers for weeks. Guests spoke of strange noises at night, of fleeting shadows in the hallways, and of a valuable painting that had vanished without a trace. Evelyn had been called in discreetly by the hotel manager, Mr. Thompson, a rotund man with a nervous cough and hands that trembled just slightly when he poured coffee. "Detective Hart," Thompson said, adjusting his bow tie, "thank goodness you're here. I don't know who else to turn to. The painting, it's gone. And the guests are starting to talk." Evelyn nodded, setting down her umbrella. "Walk me through the night it disappeared." Thompson wrung his hands. "It was last night. The storm knocked out power for a few minutes. When the lights came back on, it was gone, vanished from the wall. And no one saw anything, or at least no one admits to seeing anything." Evelyn made her way to the lobby, noting the heavy velvet drapes, the polished wood floors, and the faint smell of varnish mixed with damp rain. "Who had access to the painting?" she asked, her eyes scanning for any sign of tampering. "Just staff and the guests of the top-floor suites," Thompson replied. "But Evelyn, I swear, there's something odd." Footsteps in the hall at odd hours, a shadow moving past the east wing window. "And sometimes I hear soft whispers in the middle of the night." Evelyn frowned slightly. Shadows, whispers, vanished art. Classic ingredients for a conundrum. She made a mental note to speak with the night staff and to check the hotel's security logs, though she knew firsthand that mid-century hotels often kept only rudimentary records. "Have you contacted the police?" Evelyn asked. Thompson shook his head. "No, I didn't want to create a scandal. The hotel's reputation is everything. If word got out that a theft occurred under our roof, we'd be ruined." Evelyn considered this. In cases like this, discretion was often more valuable than haste. "Then we'll start quietly," she said. "I'll interview everyone who had access and look for any unusual behavior. People tend to reveal more than they think when they believe no one is watching." As she spoke, her eyes caught a small detail, a faint scuff on the floor near the staircase leading to the east wing. The mark was subtle, nearly invisible, but Evelyn's trained eyes recognized it immediately. Someone had moved quickly, in a hurry. "Show me the east wing," she said. Thompson hesitated but led the way. The hallway was dimly lit, the air smelling faintly of rain-soaked wood. Evelyn noticed the shadows dancing along the walls, the faint hum of electricity returning after the storm, and a strange, almost imperceptible draft coming from one of the suite doors. Her hand rested lightly on the doorknob. Something told her that behind this door, the first clue to the mystery awaited, a clue that might unravel the strange events of the Carlton Hotel if she had the courage to look. What awaited Evelyn behind the slightly ajar door, and would it reveal a thief, a ghostly trick, or something far more unexpected? The door creaked under Evelyn Hart's hand, the sound echoing faintly in the dim hallway. Every instinct told her to be cautious, and every instinct whispered that the answer to the Carlton Hotel mystery was just beyond that threshold. Evelyn pushed the door open slowly, stepping into a suite bathed in the soft glow of a single lamp. The curtains fluttered from the draft, and the faint smell of wet paint lingered in the air. Her eyes scanned the room, noting the orderly arrangement of furniture and the absence of the missing painting. But it wasn't the missing artwork that caught her attention. No, it was the small, handwritten note pinned to the inside of the closet door. The paper was old, slightly yellowed, and the handwriting meticulous. "Find the truth where the shadows meet the light." Evelyn frowned. Who would leave such a message? And for whom? She tucked the note into her coat pocket, deciding that its meaning would become clear in time. As she moved further into the suite, a soft sound made her freeze, a faint tapping, like fingertips drumming nervously against glass. She followed the sound to the balcony door and peered out into the storm-soaked night. The rain had eased, leaving puddles glistening under the flickering street lamps. Across the street, she could just make out a figure hurrying away, disappearing into the mist. "Interesting," Evelyn murmured, making a note to speak with the front desk about any unusual guests or staff movements. Just then, a knock came at the suite door. Evelyn's hand instinctively went to her coat pocket, resting on the small notebook where she recorded observations. "Come in," she called. The door opened to reveal Mr. Thompson, looking more nervous than before. "Detective, I think you should see this," he said, leading her to the adjoining suite. Inside, the room was dark except for the faint glow of a nightstand lamp. But what caught Evelyn's eye immediately was the window, slightly ajar, with wet footprints leading from it to the carpet. Clearly, someone had entered or exited hurriedly. "Footprints," Evelyn said, bending to examine them. "Looks like someone small, or at least careful. Did anyone see anything unusual last night?" Thompson shook his head. "No, but now that you mention it, the night porter did say he heard whispering near this room around midnight. He thought it was the wind." Evelyn noted the time. Midnight. That matched the brief blackout caused by the storm. Whoever had moved the painting had taken advantage of that moment. But why? And how? Her attention was drawn to a faint reflection in the window glass. Another figure, standing across the hall, half hidden in shadow. The figure ducked when they noticed her gaze, vanishing into the hallway. Evelyn's pulse quickened. "Someone is watching," she murmured, her voice barely audible. Thompson's eyes widened. "Yes," he whispered. "I've had that feeling too, for weeks." Evelyn straightened, determination in her posture. "Then we're dealing with someone patient, clever, and familiar with the hotel. Likely someone who knows the layout intimately, perhaps even a member of the staff or a frequent guest." She returned to the balcony, scanning the rain-slicked streets below. A delivery truck idled near the curb, and Evelyn wondered if it might be more than a coincidence. Could the painting have been removed under the guise of ordinary movement? As she stepped back into the suite, her eyes caught a glint of something on the floor near the closet. A tiny metallic object, a key. Small, simple, but out of place. Evelyn picked it up, examining it carefully. The teeth were worn, used frequently. She held it up to the light, realizing that it might open more than a door, perhaps the very secret of the missing painting. Whose key was this, and what hidden door, or secret, would it unlock in the mysterious Carlton Hotel? Detective Evelyn Hart held the small metallic key between her fingers, turning it over slowly as if it might whisper its secrets to her. There was a story hidden in its grooves, a tale of quiet footsteps in shadowed hallways, and Evelyn intended to uncover it. She looked around the suite again, the storm's residue still clinging to the balcony railing. Every detail mattered. The footprints, the slightly ajar window, the curious note, all of it pointed to a puzzle that someone wanted her to solve, or perhaps someone wanted to mislead her entirely. "Mr. Thompson," she said, calling the manager to her side, "I need a complete list of everyone who has access to the East Wing. Guests, staff, even maintenance. We need to know who could have had this key." Thompson nodded quickly. "I'll get it immediately, Detective." While he left, Evelyn examined the note again. "Find the truth where the shadows meet the light." Shadows, light. Could it be literal? Was there a hidden panel, a secret passage, or a concealed compartment in the hotel? Her mind wandered to the old architecture of the Carlton Hotel, built in the 1920s, with secret nooks and vintage locks still intact. Many of these hotels had hidden stairwells, servant passages, even forgotten storage rooms. She moved toward the wall where the painting had hung, searching for irregularities in the molding. Then she noticed a faint outline, a rectangular shape, slightly raised from the wall. Her pulse quickened. Could this be it? Evelyn retrieved the key from her coat pocket and knelt before the outline. The edges fit perfectly with the key's size. With a deep breath, she inserted it into a small hidden lock she hadn't seen before. The mechanism clicked, almost imperceptibly, and a panel swung open. Inside was a narrow compartment, just wide enough to conceal the missing painting. The frame lay carefully tucked within, untouched, but something else rested alongside it. A bundle of letters, tied with a faded ribbon. Evelyn's curiosity sharpened. She picked up the letters. noting the elegant handwriting. They were addressed to someone named Margaret, and spoke of clandestine meetings, a hidden treasure, and a secret that had to remain undiscovered. Footsteps echoed behind her. She spun around, expecting to confront an intruder, but it was only Mr. Thompson, peering cautiously into the suite. "Detective, is everything all right?" he asked, his voice trembling. Evelyn held up the letters. "The painting isn't lost, Mr. Thompson. It's been hidden. But these letters, they suggest there's more at play than a simple theft." Thompson's eyes widened. "More? How?" Evelyn shook her head. "I'm not certain yet. But someone has been very careful, very calculated. They wanted us to think the painting was stolen, to create panic, while the real motive lies somewhere else." She stood, her mind racing through the possibilities. The letters mentioned hidden treasure, a secret meeting place, and references to past events at the hotel, events no one alive today would remember without prompting. The mystery had layers, and Evelyn knew peeling back each one would require patience, cunning, and a keen eye for detail. She replaced the painting gently and returned the letters to the compartment. Her thoughts turned to the figure she had seen from the balcony, the one who had vanished so suddenly. Could they be connected to these letters? Was the theft, or stage theft, part of a larger scheme? Outside, the storm had faded, leaving the streets slick and shining under the street lamps. Evelyn felt the calm of the night press against the windows, but she knew this calm was deceptive. In places like the Carlton Hotel, even quiet nights held secrets waiting to be uncovered. As she prepared to leave the suite and gather more information, a sharp noise from the hallway made her pause. The unmistakable sound of a door closing quickly, followed by hurried footsteps retreating down the corridor. Someone was moving, perhaps even listening. Who had just passed through the hall, and had they noticed that Evelyn had discovered the hidden compartment and the letters that might reveal a secret no one had expected? The echo of hurried footsteps faded into the quiet halls of the Carlton Hotel, leaving Detective Evelyn Hart with a rising tension she couldn't shake. Someone had been near the hidden compartment, but who? And what would they do now that her presence was known? Evelyn stepped carefully into the hallway, her eyes scanning every shadow. The storm's remnants still left the air damp, and the polished floors reflected the faint glow of the corridor lights. Somewhere down the hall, a door clicked shut. The sound made her stomach tighten. Someone was watching, waiting, or perhaps planning their next move. She made her way to the front desk, where Thompson was waiting, papers in hand. "Detective, I've compiled a list of everyone with access to the East Wing, as you requested," he said. "Good," Evelyn replied, taking the folder. She flipped through the names, her mind sorting each person by potential motive and opportunity. There were longtime staff members, a few high-profile guests, and several maintenance workers. People who could move about unnoticed. Thompson leaned closer. I have to ask, Detective, do you think someone here is trying to harm the hotel's reputation, or is it something more personal?" Evelyn considered this. It's personal. The careful hiding of the painting, the letters, someone wants a secret protected, or revealed, on their terms. She returned to the East Wing, taking careful notes of the door numbers and layout. Then she paused outside room 214, where a faint draft came from under the door. Something about this room didn't sit right. She listened. A muffled sound, almost like someone whispering, came from inside. Evelyn knocked lightly. "Hello? This is Detective Hart." No response. She knocked again, louder. Still nothing. With a quiet exhale, she inserted her lockpick set, working the old mechanism with practiced skill. The door clicked, and she pushed it open. Inside, the room was empty, at first glance, but the curtains had been disturbed, and the furniture slightly shifted. On the floor, near the window, lay a single envelope, addressed in the same handwriting as the letter she had found in the hidden compartment. She picked it up, carefully breaking the seal. Inside was a single card with a cryptic message. "Meet me where the first light touches the grand staircase. Midnight. Come alone." Evelyn's pulse quickened. Midnight. The timing was precise, the challenge deliberate. Someone wanted her there, and the message suggested a confrontation, perhaps even a reveal. She replaced the envelope and took a slow turn around the room, noticing the faint markings near the floorboards. Someone had recently removed something from here. Perhaps another letter or a clue. But what? Her thoughts returned to the letters and the hidden compartment. Someone knew she had discovered them. The figure from the balcony, the footsteps in the hallway, the locked room, all pieces of the same puzzle. Evelyn made a mental note to secure the suite and the evidence. Tomorrow, she would begin tracing the letters, checking for handwriting matches and cross-referencing the names with hotel records. But tonight, she had another matter, the midnight rendezvous. As she prepared to leave the East Wing, she noticed a faint shadow move at the far end of the corridor, deliberate, slow, almost teasing. Evelyn stopped, heart pounding. Whoever it was, they were aware of her movements. She considered calling for backup but shook her head. This needed to be handled carefully, quietly. The wrong move could send the whole plan, or trap, spiraling out of control. Evelyn turned back to the suite, grabbing her coat and the notebook filled with observations. The hotel, so familiar by daylight, now felt like a labyrinth of secrets and whispered plans. Each corridor and shadow could hide a truth or a lie meant to mislead. Who had left the card, and what awaited Evelyn at the grand staircase at midnight? A revelation, a trap, or something far more dangerous than she had imagined? Midnight approached, and Detective Evelyn Hart could feel the tension in the Carlton Hotel tightening like a coil. Every creak of the floorboards, every flicker of light whispered secrets she was determined to uncover. Evelyn checked her watch, 10 minutes to midnight. She moved slowly down the polished hallway, coat collar turned up against the chill that had seeped in from the night. The hotel, usually a comforting landmark, now seemed a stage for intrigue, each shadow a potential conspirator. She paused at the grand staircase, its mahogany rails gleaming under the dim chandelier light. The first rays of moonlight streaming through the skylight above illuminated the steps, just as the mysterious card had instructed. A soft shuffle echoed from the top of the stairs. Evelyn stiffened, careful not to make a sound. Then a figure emerged, tall, cloaked in a long coat, hat pulled low. The figure stopped at the midpoint of the staircase, as if daring her to approach. "Detective Hart," the voice called, smooth, deliberate. "I've been expecting you." Evelyn squared her shoulders. "And you are?" she asked, keeping her tone calm, precise. The figure tipped the hat back, revealing a familiar face. Someone she hadn't expected. It was Richard Langley, a historian and longtime consultant for the hotel. His reputation was impeccable, yet his sudden appearance at this hour, under such circumstances, set her instincts on high alert. "Mr. Langley," she said, keeping a measured distance. "This meeting, it's unusual. Why now?" Langley smiled faintly, almost sadly. "There are truths that have been hidden for decades, Detective. The letters you found, the painting, even the hidden compartments, they're all connected. It's time someone knew the whole story." Evelyn's mind raced. The historian's calm demeanor suggested knowledge, yet there was a tension in his eyes, a warning not to underestimate the stakes. "Go on," she urged, "before I lose patience." Langley moved closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. During the hotel's construction, there were dealings, secret arrangements between influential families. Artifacts, letters, even minor treasures, everything meant to secure influence, protect legacies. The painting you found isn't valuable for its canvas. It's valuable because it conceals evidence of these arrangements. Evelyn listened intently, piecing together the fragments of the mystery. The letters, the hidden compartments, the careful staging of the theft. Everything pointed to someone trying to control access to the past. "And the letters addressed to Margaret?" she asked. "How do they fit in?" Langley hesitated, then spoke. Margaret was the daughter of one of the founding families. She discovered the schemes, the secret treasures, and tried to keep them safe. The letters were warnings, instructions to protect what should not fall into the wrong hands. Evelyn nodded, the weight of the history pressing against her. But her instincts screamed caution. "And yet someone staged the theft recently. Someone wanted us involved." Langley's eyes darkened. "Exactly. Not all who walk these halls today are interested in history for its own sake. Some want power, leverage, revenge. You must be careful, Detective." A sudden noise startled them. The faint sound of scuffling from the East Wing corridor. Both turned sharply. Someone was moving again, someone too close for comfort. Langley's voice dropped lower. "You need to be ready, Evelyn. Whoever orchestrated this knows more than they should, and they might strike soon. Evelyn's hand brushed her coat pocket, where the key and letters were carefully stored. The web of secrets, long buried, was unraveling, and she was now in its center. Who was moving in the shadows this time, and would Evelyn discover the full scope of the mystery before the person behind the staged theft made their next move? The corridors of the Carlton Hotel seemed endless under the pale moonlight. Every whisper of the wind through the skylight, every creak of the polished floorboards, hinted that someone or something was waiting just out of sight. Detective Evelyn Hart and Richard Langley moved cautiously toward the source of the noise in the east wing. The faint scuffle had stopped, leaving only the distant hum of the storm outside. Evelyn's hand hovered near her coat pocket, where the key and letters rested. Each step echoed softly, a rhythmic beat that matched the rapid pulse in her chest. They reached room 214, the very suite where Evelyn had found the envelope with the midnight message. The door was ajar. Carefully, she nudged it open further, revealing the room in slight disarray. Papers were scattered across the floor, the curtains twisted, and a faint draft hinted that a window had been opened recently. Langley leaned over, pointing. "Look here. Footprints. Small, deliberate. Whoever entered recently didn't want to be noticed." Evelyn knelt, examining the marks. "Not many people have access to this wing at midnight. That narrows our suspect list considerably." She rose, scanning the room again. Something felt off. A chair was pulled out, as if someone had been seated and then left in a hurry. Then a faint glint caught her eye, a small metallic object peeking from under the nightstand. She crouched, lifting it carefully. It was a locket, old and tarnished, with a tiny photograph inside. Margaret, the daughter Langley had mentioned, smiling warmly at the camera. "Margaret," Evelyn murmured. "Why leave this here?" Langley frowned. "A clue or a warning. Whoever staged this wants you to follow the trail, but only to the point they desire. Beyond that, it's dangerous." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "Then they're confident we'll find it." Langley nodded. "Confident and clever. This isn't just a simple theft or a secret letter. It's a test, to see if the right person can uncover the truth without alerting those who'd prefer it remain hidden." Evelyn took a deep breath, steadying her thoughts. The puzzle pieces were aligning, hidden compartments, letters, the painting, and now this locket. Each clue revealed more of the mystery, yet the mastermind remained elusive. A sudden sound, a soft click, almost like a lock turning, made them both freeze. Evelyn's gaze darted to the hallway. Shadows shifted. Someone had entered the corridor behind them. "Stay calm," she whispered, gripping the small revolver at her side. The figure emerged slowly from the darkness. A woman, mid-40s, elegant, with sharp eyes that betrayed intelligence and a hint of desperation. She carried herself with confidence, yet there was a nervous tension in her movements. "Detective Hart," the woman said, her voice smooth but with an edge of urgency. "You shouldn't be here." "And yet I am," Evelyn replied steadily. "Who are you?" The woman hesitated. Then she pulled back her glove, revealing a hand trembling slightly as she held a folded piece of paper. "I'm Eleanor Whitmore. I've been watching, protecting the legacy Margaret left behind. And now, I fear it's in danger again." Evelyn glanced at Langley, who simply nodded. Eleanor's arrival added another layer to the mystery, someone who clearly knew more than they were willing to reveal. "Show me the paper," Evelyn demanded. Eleanor handed it over. The note was brief, written in Margaret's hand. "Beware the one who smiles too easily. Trust no one in the East Wing after midnight." Evelyn's pulse quickened. Someone in the hotel, someone they had been around all along, was a step ahead, manipulating events from the shadows. Who was the person in the East Wing moving unseen, and would Evelyn, Langley, and Eleanor be able to unravel the layers of secrecy before the past's danger caught up with them? The Carlton Hotel seemed alive with secrets that night, every shadow hiding whispers, every flicker of light hiding intentions. Detective Evelyn Hart knew that patience and vigilance would be her only allies. Evelyn, Langley, and Eleanor huddled just inside room 214, the note from Margaret clutched carefully in Eleanor's hand. The three exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. The past was not dead, and someone in the hotel was orchestrating events with precise control. "East Wing after midnight," Eleanor said, her voice low. "It has to be someone who knows the hotel intimately, Someone who understands the hidden passages, the old service corridors. Langley rubbed his temples. That narrows the suspects to a handful. But who among them has motive? Evelyn paced slowly, analyzing every detail. The scattered papers, the locket, the staged theft, each pointed to someone who wanted control over Margaret's legacy. But control for what purpose? Power, revenge, or something more personal? A soft knock echoed from the room's door. They all froze. "Who is it?" Evelyn called, steady but firm. No answer, just another shuffle of movement outside, followed by a muffled whisper. Then the click of a doorknob, turning slowly. Someone was trying the door. Evelyn signaled Langley and Eleanor to stay back. She stepped forward and flung the door open. But the hallway was empty, only the dim light of the corridor and the shadows stretching along the walls. "Too easy," Langley muttered. "They're testing us, baiting us." Evelyn nodded. "Or they're waiting for us to make a mistake." She tightened her grip on her revolver and led the way down the hall. Every step was measured, every sound scrutinized. The hotel's silence pressed down like a weight, broken only by the distant rumble of thunder outside. They reached the grand staircase again, and a faint glimmer on the landing caught Evelyn's attention. Carefully she approached. A small envelope, sealed with wax. The familiar initials MH stamped into it, Margaret's handwriting. Evelyn tore it open. Inside, a single note. "Meet me where the past and present converge. Only there will you learn who truly guards the secret." Langley frowned. "The library, the room beneath the stained glass ceiling, that's where the Carltons' history is most concentrated." Eleanor nodded. "Yes, and where Margaret often retreated to decipher the older correspondences and hidden records. That's where the next clue must be." Evelyn's heart quickened. They had a destination, a tangible lead. But the risk was clear. Whoever had left the note had also anticipated their following it. As they turned to leave, the lights flickered. A shadow darted across the far end of the hall. Fleeting, almost imperceptible, but definitely human. Evelyn instinctively raised her revolver, but it was gone in a heartbeat, swallowed by darkness. "Someone's playing a dangerous game," she muttered, "and we're moving right into their arena." They descended the stairs cautiously, Langley leading the way. Each step seemed heavier than the last, each breath louder against the oppressive quiet. They reached the library, its massive wooden doors standing like silent sentinels. Evelyn pushed one open, revealing rows of towering shelves, dust motes dancing in the beam of her flashlight. Somewhere within these aisles, the next revelation awaited, Margaret's secret, carefully protected, and now at risk of exposure. A sudden creak behind them froze their blood. Someone was following, close enough that they could almost hear the brush of fabric against the floorboards. Evelyn signaled to stop. Her eyes scanned the room. Then she caught it. A shadow moving deliberately between the shelves, trying to remain unseen, yet undeniably present. Who was stalking them in the library, and would Evelyn uncover Margaret's hidden truth before the shadow struck again? The library was a cathedral of secrets, each shelf a silent witness to decades of whispered truths. Detective Evelyn Hart knew that tonight, the walls themselves might hold the answers, if she could survive long enough to listen. Evelyn signaled Langley and Eleanor to stay close, their steps careful as they moved between the towering shelves. The shadow she had seen flickered again, this time closer, weaving through the aisles with deliberate intent. "Stop," she whispered. "They want us to chase. Don't give them that satisfaction." Langley nodded, crouching slightly to remain unseen, while Eleanor clutched the note from Margaret tightly, her knuckles white. Every instinct screamed that they were being watched, and the stillness of the library made it almost unbearable. Then, a soft sound, almost like the scrape of paper against wood. Evelyn froze, focusing. It was coming from the far corner, near the old records section, where Margaret had spent countless hours researching Carlton family history. Slowly, they approached, and the shadow, now clearly a figure, darted behind a large oak cabinet. Evelyn moved silently, revolver ready, and peered around the edge. A woman, younger than Eleanor, mid-30s perhaps, crouched low. She had a startled expression but quickly masked it with composure. In her hands, a small, leather-bound diary. "Who are you?" Evelyn demanded. The woman's eyes darted from Evelyn to Langley to Eleanor. I didn't mean any harm. "I'm Annabelle Carlton," she said, voice trembling slightly. I've been protecting something my family wanted hidden for decades." Evelyn lowered her weapon slightly, curiosity outweighing suspicion for the moment. "Protecting what, Miss Carlton?" Annabelle hesitated, then opened the diary. Inside, pages were filled with meticulous handwriting, detailing financial transactions, secret correspondences, and references to events long forgotten. "This," she said, "is the key to understanding Margaret's disappearance years ago. But it's dangerous. If it falls into the wrong hands, the Carlton name and many lives could be ruined." Eleanor leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "You mean Margaret's legacy isn't just personal? There's more at stake?" Annabelle nodded yes. "There's someone who wants to claim what she left behind. Someone with influence, charm, and a smile that hides intentions." She paused, glancing nervously at the library entrance. "And they're still here tonight." Langley's jaw tightened. "So the shadow we've been seeing, it's them, and they know we're close." Evelyn felt the weight of the moment. Every clue, every note, every locket and letter now pointed toward a confrontation that was inevitable. Margaret's secret was no longer just a puzzle. It was a dangerous inheritance. Suddenly, a faint click echoed from the far end of the room. All three spun around. A figure emerged, tall, calm, and deliberate. The face was partially obscured, but the air of confidence was unmistakable. "Detective Hart," the figure said smoothly. "I wondered when we would meet." Evelyn stepped forward, determined. "Who are you, and why are you chasing Margaret's secrets?" The figure's smile was calm, almost pleasant, yet unsettling. "Let's just say I've been protecting my family's interests, and anyone meddling in them has to be taught a lesson in discretion." The tension in the library was palpable, each side poised, every mind racing. Evelyn knew that one wrong move could tip the balance. The storm outside raged louder, echoing the unease within these walls. Could Evelyn, Langley, Eleanor, and Annabelle outwit this mysterious adversary, or was Margaret's secret destined to remain hidden forever? And who exactly was behind the manipulations that had haunted the Carlton legacy for decades? The storm outside pounded the windows of the Carlton Hotel, but inside the library, an even fiercer storm was brewing. Detective Evelyn Hart faced the moment that could unravel decades of secrets, or seal them forever. Evelyn squared her shoulders, keeping her gaze on the tall figure who had stepped from the shadows. Their calm, measured smile sent a chill down her spine, but she refused to show fear. "You've been following us for hours," she said evenly. "Why? What are you really after?" The figure's eyes flicked to Annabelle, then Eleanor and Langley. "What I'm after is simple. To ensure that Margaret's affairs are handled discreetly. Some things are meant to remain buried." Annabelle stepped forward, her voice firm. "You mean stolen? Margaret trusted me with her secret, and you've been trying to take it for yourself." The figure's smile remained. "Ah, but Miss Carlton, we have the same goal. Protecting the Carlton name. Perhaps you misunderstand my methods." Langley interjected. "Protecting the name?" "You've been threatening people, breaking into rooms, leaving false notes. That's not protection, that's intimidation." A laugh, soft but commanding, filled the room. "Intimidation is sometimes necessary," the figure replied. "Margaret made enemies, detective. People with patience, cunning, and resources. I am simply one step ahead of them." Evelyn glanced around the library, the shelves, the hidden alcoves, the dark corners. They all provided potential hiding places, potential threats. She had to think quickly. If your goal is truly protection, then you have nothing to fear from us. We're not here to take what Margaret left behind. We want to understand it, to honor her memory. The figure tilted their head, studying Evelyn. "And if I don't believe you?" Evelyn's mind raced. She had to create a distraction, to shift control of the situation. She nodded to Langley, who subtly moved toward a tall shelf, ready to make a move if necessary. Evelyn's eyes then caught the glint of a key on the floor near the cabinet where Annabelle had been hiding. "I think you dropped this," she said casually, picking it up. The figure's eyes flickered briefly, a crack in their composure. Annabelle took a step closer. "Detective, that key opens the hidden safe beneath the library floor. That's where Margaret recorded everything. The transactions, letters, her last messages. If we access it, we'll finally know the full truth." The figure's expression hardened. "You shouldn't go there. Some truths are dangerous, more dangerous than you imagine." Evelyn's lips pressed into a determined line. "Then we'll see if danger can stop us. Margaret trusted us to uncover this mystery, and we won't let fear stand in the way." Langley gave a subtle nod. Together, they approached the panel hidden under the rug, revealing a small staircase descending into darkness. The smell of old paper and polished wood wafted up as they peered into the hidden room below. The figure hesitated for a moment, then took a step back, their silhouette merging with the shadows. "Very well," they said quietly. "But remember, secrets have a way of turning on those who seek them." Evelyn, Langley, Annabelle, and Eleanor descended carefully, flashlights cutting through the darkness. The room below was a vault of Carlton history, filled with ledgers, letters, and meticulously catalogued documents. Every piece of paper seemed to hum with significance. Annabelle's hands shook as she reached for a final envelope, one marked with Margaret's unmistakable handwriting. This will explain everything. Every clue, every warning, every deception." Before anyone could react, a faint click echoed above them. The figure had not left entirely. Someone else was watching, waiting, and the sense of being hunted returned with renewed intensity. What revelation awaited in Margaret's final envelope, and who remained lurking above, ready to intervene at the critical moment? Would Evelyn finally piece together the puzzle, or would decades of secrets slip through their fingers once more? The hidden vault beneath the Carlton Library was silent, save for the distant patter of rain against the hotel windows. Detective Evelyn Hart knew that tonight, every shadow, every whispered secret, would finally reveal its truth. Evelyn, Annabelle, Langley, and Eleanor gathered around the envelope Margaret had left, hands trembling with anticipation. Annabelle carefully broke the seal, revealing a series of letters, a ledger, and a small photograph. Evelyn opened the first letter. Margaret's handwriting was precise, almost meticulous. Each word carried weight, each sentence a subtle clue. The letters detailed a complex scheme of embezzlement, forged contracts, and betrayals within the Carlton family. The very reason why Margaret had vanished from public life for a time. Langley examined the ledger. Numbers and transactions, recorded with painstaking care, painted a picture of hidden wealth funneled through trusted associates. Evelyn realized that the mysterious figure pursuing them had been trying to claim this fortune for themselves, under the guise of protection. Eleanor's eyes fell on the photograph. It was Margaret, smiling faintly, standing beside the very figure who had stalked them in the library. The handwriting on the back read, "Some choices must remain secret until the right time." Annabelle's voice was soft, yet charged with emotion. She knew this person. She trusted them once, and something happened that made her hide all of this. That's why she left clues, but not answers. Evelyn's mind raced, connecting the dots. The calm, confident figure in the library, someone with access, charm, and influence, had been hiding in plain sight all along, waiting for the moment to claim Margaret's fortune. But Margaret's clever planning had ensured that only someone diligent, patient, and trustworthy could uncover the truth. Suddenly the faint click they had heard earlier grew louder, followed by the soft creak of footsteps on the library floor above. Evelyn motioned for everyone to stay silent. Every muscle tensed. The shadow from before appeared at the staircase, a familiar calm smile on their face. "I see you've discovered Margaret's little secret," the figure said, voice smooth, measured, quite impressive. "But I wonder, will you know how to use it wisely?" Evelyn stepped forward, voice steady. "We don't want the fortune for ourselves. Margaret's legacy belongs to those who honor her trust, her family, and those who preserve her integrity. That's why you'll have to step aside." The figure's smile faltered, the tension in their shoulders revealing a flicker of uncertainty. "And if I refuse?" Annabelle, summoning courage, held up the photograph and letters. "Then everyone will know the truth, every manipulation, every deceit you've used to control this legacy." For a long moment silence hung between them. Then, slowly, the figure's shoulders slumped. "Very well," they said quietly. "Margaret was always cleverer than I imagined. Perhaps some secrets are meant to be shared after all." Evelyn exhaled, relief washing over her. Margaret's carefully laid plan had worked. The Carlton fortune, long the source of shadows and schemes, would finally be used as it was intended, to honor her name and her values. Langley closed the vault door, the sound echoing like a final punctuation mark. "Well," he said, a hint of a grin breaking his serious expression, "I suppose the mystery is finally solved." Annabelle smiled, tears glistening in her eyes. "Margaret would have been proud. We kept her trust." Evelyn allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. The storm outside had passed, leaving the town in quiet calm, as though it, too, had been holding its breath. Every secret had found its place, every deception unveiled, and the Carlton legacy was finally at peace. The mystery was resolved, but the lessons remained. Patience, trust, and careful observation often outsmarted even the cleverest of schemes. And for Detective Evelyn Hart, another case closed, another story whispered through the quiet halls of a town that never fully forgot its secrets.